Hello, BO fam. How are you doing? This is kind of my first live in this format, so hopefully it turns out good. Just stay with me. We're trying to figure out things, but thank you so much for joining in. We have a lot to discuss. We have a lot to talk about. The farmers' protest is again happening. Starting, it's already started today, and there's already a lot of rage around it. So we'll talk about that. But before I start, let me just put up a quick story on Instagram as well so that people watch. Guys, I am live on YouTube right now. Come join me. I'll put the link here. Awesome. Just give me a minute. I'll put this up and then we will start. Can you hear me clearly? Just put some comment so that I know. Amrinder, can you check if you can hear me clearly?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Guys, I am live on YouTube right now. Okay, so the story is almost up. Just give me a minute. Oh, Nikhil is asking what topic. Nikhil, our topic for today is the farmers' protest. Why are the farmers protesting? What is going on? What are their demands? They've put up 12 demands. So we are going to be discussing all of that. Just hang on. Give me a minute. Okay, awesome. So let's start with why are the farmers protesting? So obviously in 2020, 2021, farmers protested. Mostly in 21, farmers were protesting against the farm laws, which went on for a long time. There was a lot of violence, there was a lot of disturbance, and there were obviously agendas being pushed around by different parties, right? So this time also the protests have already started. 13th February, which is today, the farmers have reached Haryana and Delhi borders, and they are ready to protest there. Before I go to what their demands are, there are a few things I've made notes and everything here, so there's a lot for me to tell you about. So first is the farmers that are protesting. Apparently, there are around 200 farmer unions that are marching to that have marched to Delhi and Delhi to protest. Right now, that's a huge number of farm unions. There are farm unions from Karnataka as well. There was reports that a farm union from Karnataka that was going to Delhi to protest was stopped in Madhya Pradesh and were arrested, and the chief minister of Karnataka had to ask them to be released. I don't know if they've been released yet or not, but this is definitely going to be a major thing in 2024. As the farmers were protesting, the government sort of blocked out sealed the Haryana Delhi borders. They put cement blocks, they put spikes, and they put all sorts of things just to be able to block off the highway, which also obviously caused a lot of traffic. There were visuals coming out of Delhi and Delhi Gurgaon today where there was traffic. It was absolute mayhem. So now the government is doing anything and everything possible to stop the farmers from going, but the farmers obviously are not going to stop. They have been able to move these cement blocks and cross the border and everything. But most importantly, why are these farmers protesting again? Right? The initial the protest that was happening in 2021 were mostly about the farm laws, the three farm laws. that were ultimately repealed, right? A lot of people felt that those were for the benefit of the farmers, but a lot of the section of the farming community felt that it was not, right? And now that the farm laws were repealed, now there are a lot more demands that the farmers have. One of the main, oh, Nikhil is saying there's glitch in the voice. Amrendra, can you check what is the issue? Is there a problem in my voice? The others that are watching, is there a problem in my voice? Okay, there is no problem, Nikhil. Maybe it's your internet. So just check. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much. So thank you so much. Okay, so before it was about the farm laws, right? One of the main points in the farm laws was the MSP, which is the minimum support price. So MSP is basically the minimum support price is basically how much a farmer gets based on how much they produce, right? So if a farmer is producing say 1 kilo of onions, it's not necessary that the farmer will be able to sell that 1 kilo of onions, right? So what they want is minimum support price, which means that if their onions don't get sold, then the government pays them for that 1 kilo of onion, a minimum price that the government pays them, right? So one of the main reasons for the protest is this MSP, right? So the farmers now want a legal guarantee for MSP, which is the minimum support price. Before the government wanted to sort of privatize it. Privatize meaning that companies on their own would come and sort of buy from the farmers, which farmers felt, and obviously farmers would have not gotten what they deserve, right? Some farmers would have gotten a lot more money, some farmers would have got nothing, right? Which would be bad for the farming community in general. So they wanted this MSP from the government so that they at least have some sort of a guarantee that okay, we will make at least a minimum of this much, even if no one else is ready to buy it, right? Which is important for them. But in the initial farm laws that wasn't the case, and even now the MSP is there, but then it's not that much, right? So they want a legal guarantee for MSP, and this minimum support price should be based on Swaminathan Commission. Now Swaminathan Commission is something that the government, again this is a little technical, but this was something that was set up after the farm laws were repealed to understand how much should a farmer be paid, right? So which is why again it again depends on what the government wants to do about it. So first demand for them, so they have 12 demands. First demand is this minimum support price, which is that give us a legal guarantee of minimum support price across India, and promise us certain amount that we will get paid. Okay. Then second is debt waiver. So debt waiver is basically any loans that farmers or farm laborers have taken. They want to they want the government's help in waiving all of that loan, because obviously the farmers take loans, and these laborers take loans, and a lot of them they're not able to pay it back. And obviously due to COVID they were affected a lot, right? Which is why one of the second demand that they have is waive off our loans. Otherwise it is problematic for farmers. The farming suicide, the farmer suicide is a very common thing that happens across India, right? You would have probably heard about it as well. And one of the biggest reason for farmers to commit suicide is that because they took a loan, they grew a particular crop, but then the crop didn't turn out well, which is why they had to sort of, obviously they had to commit suicide, because there was so much debt on them. So second is they want that to be waived off. Third is the withdrawal of police case against farmers. So when the 2021, when the farmer protest was happening, right, a lot of police complaints were and FIRs were filed against the farmers. Some of them were obviously because the farmers got violent, but others were also because um, of just people were filing cases against them because they were creating nuisance, even though they were doing a non-violent protest. So that is why a lot of cases were filed against them, and now they want the government to sort of uh, waive off those cases. That is the third one. Fourth, Okay, there are 12. Now I'm talking about the fourth one, which is justice for victims in the Lakhimpur Kheri case. So, if you guys don't remember, the Lakhimpur Kheri case is where when the farmers were protesting, a vehicle sort of drove through the people, and it ended up killing. There were 8 people that died that day, I think, out of which 4 were farmers, and the other 4 I'm not sure. But then after the car was ran after the vehicle was ran through the farmers when they were protesting, the farmers obviously got into mob lynching and everything. So that itself was a big issue, and obviously it shouldn't have happened, because just running through people is not something that they deserve, especially the farmers, because obviously the farming industry and the farming community makes up is the backbone of our country, and makes up about 70% of our economy. So farmers obviously don't deserve that treatment, and they are demanding justice for the victims, right? And in this justice as well, they want compensation for and this is the fifth demand, which is that compensation for farmers who died during Delhi protest, right? There were a lot of farmers that died, either due to natural causes or due to unnatural causes, because they were protesting in Delhi, and obviously they didn't get anything out of it, right? So they want some sort of compensation for all the farmers that died during the protest. So that is the fifth demand. Sixth demand, which was a little, I'm not sure about this, the others made sense, but this one didn't make a lot of sense, which was pension for farmers and the farming, the laborers, right? Now pension, of course, is something that plays an important role for anyone that retires, and farmers obviously should also be getting. But how that is determined, how the government can give that, is a difficult question to answer, right? It's a good demand to have, but is it really possible to have, what do you say, pension for farmers and farming laborers? Is something that needs to be looked into and needs to be decided better. But at least as of now, that is their demand, which is pension for farmers. Okay, then a very important one, which is, and something that you would be stunned to hear, which is the withdrawal of India from the World Trade Organization, and to freeze all the agreements. Now World Trade Organization, as the name goes, is a place where different countries come together, they have different agreements for trading amongst countries, and it sets a nice sort of a backbone for trading amongst the world, right? But what has happened is, after India joined the World Trade Organization, the sorry, after India joined the World Trade Organization, what happened is, um, the trade was very liberalized, right? So so the country, it was easier for countries to sort of trade with each other. And what happened is, India started, obviously when there's trade, you'd want to get the most amount of money. So what India did and what other countries did was that, they India started exporting the good things outside, right? Because the developed countries, the rich countries, were able to buy it, so India started sending out all its good material outside, and kept having little low quality material for us Indians, right? And the other countries, they sort of started exporting the bad quality things to developing countries, right? So countries that were not able to afford that much, they started buying these low quality material as well, right? So India, essentially what happened is, the farming community started getting low quality material, first of all. Second of all, the cost of farming started increasing, because there was so much export and there was so much business. As the demand increased, the cost also increased, right? So which is why the cost of farming increased, and it affected farmers a lot, which is why they want the government to withdraw from the World Trade Organization, and take a step back from the World Trade Organization, just so that the cost of farming in India can reduce. Okay. Then comes another important one, which is scrapping of Electricity Amendment Bill. Now Electricity Amendment Bill again came in 2022, which again sort of moved towards more privatization of electricity, and and what do you say, the state being responsible for giving subsidy to the people of that country, and of the state, and the center having a lot more control in the electricity policies. Now there was a amendment made in 2003 in this electricity bill, which was good, because what that did was that the state was responsible to give subsidy upfront, right? But with this new amendment, what happened is the state is not responsible for giving it upfront, but they are supposed to give it later, right? But the farmers are sort of worried that this later will never come as things happen. The farmers are worried that this subsidy, they might never get the subsidy, and the privatization of electricity will also mean that the cost of electricity will go up. Before, it was more in the control of the state government, but now it has gone into control of central government, which will obviously impact the price that is being charged, right? Which is what the farmers are worried about. So that is the next one. Then, so I have done, first was legal guarantee of MSP, second was farm date waiver, third was withdrawal of police cases against farmers, fourth was justice for victims in the Lakhimpur Kheri case, fifth was pension for farmers, sixth was India's withdrawal from the World Trade Organization, seventh was compensation for farmers who died during Delhi protest, eighth was scrapping of electricity bill. Okay, now coming to the, so we have four more demands left. Coming to the ninth one, which is the guaranteed employment for farmers and laborers. So we have this act called the Manrega Act, which is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, right? Now this act basically guarantees 100 days of employment for anyone that is unemployed. Okay, in simple words, anyone that is unemployed can get 100 days of employment from the government, and they get minimum wage for it. Now the farmers want this 100 days to be increased to 200 days, and increase the minimum wage to 700 rupees, which again, I don't know if it's actually feasible or not. It is obviously for the government to determine if it will be feasible or not, but that is the next one. Then comes, so that is the ninth one. 10th one is penalty on companies producing fake seeds, pesticides. This, of course, is a no-brainer. Obviously, should be done. How they determine which company is producing fake seeds and pesticides, of course, has to be done clinically and technically. So yeah, that is the 10th one. Then 11th one, ensure rights for indigenous people over water, forest, and land. This is also very important, because the government is privatizing a lot of things, right? When it comes to forest land, when it comes to waterways, a lot of it just being privatized. So what happens is, when things are privatized, companies look for more profit and they stop caring about the people, right? But in this case, the farmers want to ensure that the government is still caring about indigenous people. Indigenous peoples means scheduled tribe, some groups of OBCs as well. So this in the farmers want the government to make sure that these indigenous people have rights over their own water and land and forests. And then the last one is a setup of National Commission for spices such as chili and turmeric. Now, National Commission obviously make sure that everything is centralized, and all of these spices can also be centralized through this, right? So these are the 12 demands that the farmers are protesting for, and obviously some demands like India's withdrawal from WTO, or scrapping of electricity amendment bill, are things that are very far fetched. But and of course the minimum guarantee of wages and everything is far fetched, because again, these are difficult things to execute. Even though the farmers want it, it's not like the government will agree with it immediately and it will sort of come into action. Even if the government agrees with it, there has to be a lot of discussion, there has to be a lot of deliberation, and only then this happens. Even this farmers protest started after several discussions with the government, and government not being able to agree to their demands, right? which is why they are protesting, which is why anyone protests, right? So um right now, when before I was going live, I was looking at the news, and there was news of tear gas being thrown on, I mean tear gas being released on the farmers and everything, which is not, shouldn't be done, shouldn't happen, right? Let them protest. They obviously have the right to protest, they should protest. Of course the protest should happen in a peaceful, in a non-disturbing manner. No citizen wants to be disturbed, and no citizen should fear going out of their house. So as long as the farmers protest is happening peacefully, and there is necessary action being taken, hopefully nothing major happens. But I highly doubt it, because again, this is the year of elections, right? So what is essentially going to happen is farmers protest is happening 3 4 5 months before elections. So the opposition parties are going to come, they're going to support the farmers, which means that the government or BJP and its allies will start shunning down the farmers, saying that, they are being funded by the opposition, they are taking carrying forth for the um, the opposition's agenda. So again, the protest that should have some value will essentially have no value, and people will start demeaning the farmers of again, fingers crossed, hopefully nothing happens, hopefully nothing bad happens, and the protests happen peacefully, the discussions happen peacefully. But I don't think so. So if you have any questions, please ask. I'll take up any questions that you have. Savik Gamers is asking, sir, don't you think that farmers are overusing their rights to suppress the government, since they were also able to do it in 2021? No, they're not really overusing their rights of suppressing the government. First of all, farmers can't really suppress the government. All they can do is protest, which is obviously part of our laws and constitution. So first, they obviously can protest against the government. Anyone, even you, can protest against the government, and you should protest against the government, because if you let the government do whatever they want, they sort of get a free reign, right? And in a democracy, the citizens have the right to make sure that the government is working for them, not for themselves or against them, right? So first is, no, they're not overusing the rights, but more importantly, it depends on how it takes place, right? Now, if the protests happen in a violent manner, and sort of disturbances are happening, which again can happen because political parties will be involved, that is problematic, and that shouldn't happen, right? 2021, there was a lot of violence also that happened, which shouldn't happen, obviously. But let's see, right? ऑटो 360 बोल रहे हैं, मंदिर के लिए भी पॉलिटिकल एजेंडा डिस्कशन कर लेते मेरे राइट विंग प्रिविलेज्ड बॉय. ओके. यार, राइट विंग होते तो, इफ यू सी आवर पेज, यू विल सी अ लॉट ऑफ टॉपिक्स. पीपल कॉल अस राइट विंग, पीपल कॉल अस लेफ्ट विंग. But anyway, this is the start of us doing lives. This is the start of us actually coming on YouTube live and discussing these topics. So we are going to be doing more and more of this. We are going to be covering all sorts of topics. So let's see how it goes. If anyone else has any questions, please put it down in the comments. I'll keep reading it. I hope you guys were able to understand something. I hope you guys were able to understand why farmers are protesting. If you want to read more about it, we are going to also be putting up a post on Instagram on our channel, Barely Opinionated. So you can go and check it all there. So yeah, I think with this, I will end the stream. Thank you so much for joining in. This was the first one that I did, that I was doing like this. Hopefully you guys learned something, and thank you. Make sure to join in next time as well.